In case you didn't see, we have for the papers. Sorry.
No problem. Good evening and welcome to the March 10th, 2026 regular meeting of the Tehachapi Unified School District Governing Board. It is 5:01 and we need roll call. Ms. Barnes?
President Kaminsky,
Here.
Vice President Kelly,
Here.
Clerk Wood, here, Trustee Cooper,
Here.
Trustee Christensen,
Here.
Trustee Napier,
Here.
Trustee Sweeney absent, Superintendent Bell,
Present.
and I'm Deanna Barnes.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes. It's time for flag salute and a moment of silent reflection. Tonight we are led by Anna Hoffman, Vice Principal at Tehachapi High School, to lead us in the pledge and moment of silent reflection.
Good evening, Board and Superintendent Bell. Please get ready for the flag salute. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, Ms. Hoffman. Next item is approval of the agenda, and I have to revise the agenda all the way down in closed session. Item 3, public employee discipline dismissal release, and item 4, public employee discipline dismissal release. Those two items are no longer needed, and so I need a motion to approve the agenda with those revisions.
Kelly makes a motion.
Second.
It was motioned by Vice President Kelly, seconded by Trustee Christensen to approve the board with those revisions. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Recognition of Capturing Kids' Hearts student greeters. Superintendent Bell.
Thank you, President Kaminsky. For this evening, March the 10th, I would like to extend my gratitude to our Capturing Kids' Hearts greeters from Cummings Valley Elementary School and Principal Taylor Markinson for selecting and encouraging these students. For the month of March, our focus is step up, develop strength to face something difficult. This month, we're focused on helping students understand courage is not a magical remedy or a fear. Instead, courage is a choice to push through fear, self-doubt, and anxiety to do things that feel hard and frightening. We are partnering with parents this month to grow their child's courage, and we suggest role play situations that demonstrate courage, assign various chores around the house, and to try something new to experience that courage. So I want to thank our greeters for tonight. I'm going to call them up front here. We're going to take a photo.
As we do that, I'd like to how appropriate it is for Cummings Valley to be doing capturing kids' hearts involving courage, because that's the name of their mascot. Thank you, Principal Markison, for the absolutely adorable greeters you had us help us tonight. And now we go to Superintendent update. Superintendent Bell.
All right, thank you, President Kaminsky. All right, so let's see, let me get that turned on there really quick. There we go. Once again, I want to thank the greeters here that are here tonight, so appreciate you all. As we move on to our overall enrollment within the district, this particular slide looks at week number 27 and also end of the year last year. So we do see a typical short decline in enrollment month over month. We're down about 30 students, so at 4,040 students for week 27. Remember, we did have 26 seniors that exited in December as well that graduated with their diplomas, so I wanted to thank them for that. Mrs. Paxton and I were talking today about putting together an exit survey for the families that are exiting to see where they're transitioning to. So idea is to kind of get that up and running this summer and be able to have that moving for next school year. On cumulative attendance overall, you'll see the green line does represent this school year's attendance overall. We are above the last 2 years of attendance, and we're sitting about 92.84. This is a little bit of the current attendance. You'll see that overall on the current attendance, we're looking at, we were about 93% week over week. For the last 30 days, we're down a little bit, and then overall month over month, we're flat at about 92.85. For our February attendance winners, we've got a new winner this month. We've got Tila, who comes in as our winner right there in the middle, overall with a 99% attendance rate. And then our other schools close behind. I just want to thank everybody for partaking in the attendance incentives and also just creating that welcoming environment for those students to attend. Our overall bulletin boards are done by Jacobson Middle School. So at Jacobson Middle School, we try to incorporate ASB clubs and our homeroom activities into our student daily schedules. We know that if we can capture their hearts, we can teach their minds. Students have options of sharing their interest with the fellow classmates and staff, creating school connectiveness. So I want to thank Jacobson Middle School for doing our bulletin boards for the month, and stop by and take a look at those photos. I was perusing the county superintendent's, he sends out a monthly newsletter, if you will, and come to find out we had 2 of our students that were not only submitted for the Kern County Superintendent of School Science Fair, but also place. So we've got fourth grader at Golden Hills. For chemistry, third place Piper Reel was recognized for overall science fair for fourth grade. And then for fifth grade at Golden Hills, for alternative energy, third place went to Addison Chun. So I want to congratulate those two students for the hard work and entering the science fair on behalf of themselves and their school. And then our upcoming events that we've got coming up today, we've got both band and drama concerts at THS coming in this month. We've got our Special Olympics at Tompkins. Cummings Valley's got a spring ball. We've got our spring break, which is going to extend right there through April the 6th. And then our next board meeting on April the 14th. And those are our upcoming events for this month. And that is all that I have for everybody.
Thank you, Superintendent Bell. TAT update, Ms. Bowman.
Good evening, President Kaminsky, members of the board, Superintendent Bell, members of the public. My name is Val Bowman, and I am the president of the Tehachapi Association of Teachers. The seasons are changing, even though we had winter not long ago and summer yesterday. It's kind of spring today. And time marches forward. Our world's crazy right now. And it's sad to think that we have to live in this craziness. It's crazy. It'd be nice just to enjoy flowers and sit in the sun or have your toes in the warm sand and listen to the sound of water. And when I say that, I can imagine it, because that would be a nice place to be. Instead, it feels like the world is filled with negativity and divisiveness. The past few days have been difficult in TUSD. Passing out unemployment notices and explaining the process takes its toll on so many people. It's like when you throw a stone into a pond, the ripples venture far and wide, and the recovery takes time. It's easy to feel negative and overwhelmed. According to neuroscientist Jared Cooney Horvath, for the first time in modern history, children born between 1997 and 2010 have done worse in school than the generations before them, and those kids seem to be proud of it. Young people are overconfident about their intelligence. They believe they are smarter than those who've come before, when studies are showing the opposite. They underperform on most cognitive measures, including basic attention, memory, numeracy, literacy, executive functioning, and general IQ. The decline is linked to their dependence on digital tools and excessive screen time. Low academic cognitive ability is also linked to negative classroom behaviors like conduct problems, hyperactivity, and poor engagement. These students suffer from higher rates of frustration, which can manifest into disruptive or violent behaviors. This often drives academic struggle and poor self-regulation, and all of this comes from the National Institute of Health. So, how do we teach these students academic and societal fundamentals when these behaviors are so prevalent in schools? They're addicted to the blue light. Those phones are forever prevalent, and they lie. Can you put your phone away? I'm texting my mom. You're not. We see the game on your phone. And they gather limited information in 30-second snippets from TikTok or Reels, and then they believe the story that they see, even though it's AI generated. Lessons that used to take a few days to teach now take double the time. Deeper conversations about literature or current events or other in-depth items have fallen to the wayside, only to be replaced with things like 6-7 or Cho. What doesn't seem like long ago to you or I, but long ago to other people, back in the 90s, mid-90s, there's this saying, it was called, "It takes a village to raise a child." Well, teachers are seeing ever-increasing violence in the classroom and towards teachers outside of the classroom. Physical and social media violence towards teachers is on the rise. Even in our town, students hit, kick, verbally assault, and will attempt standoffs with staff. On social media, students and adults post outlandish and often inaccurate information that causes stress and problems at sites. There have been small improvements in local schools, but there's always room for more improvement. Students are being somewhat punished for violent behaviors towards all, but truth be told, no violence from any student should ever be allowed. Violence is not a form of communication, nor is it a form of solution. Excessively violent students, no matter the age, should not be allowed in our public schools, no matter what the law says, because they cause unsafe conditions for everyone in their presence. No one deserves to be a target when their whole job is to learn. Many of these kids, we're noticing, can barely read. They can't tell time on a clock. They don't memorize, and they cannot analyze intellectually. Their sense of entitlement is off the charts. Where is that village? Because the schoolhouse can't be the only location, and school personnel can't be the only caretakers. Teachers and staff are exhausted by this behavior, and so many are talking about either quitting or retiring. They're done. It's good that spring break is just a couple weeks off. It's an opportunity to rejuvenate, to rest, maybe have some fun, so they can get through the last weeks of school. But what I'm saying to you is not just coming from my site. This is coming from all of the sites. This is coming from a great many of the teachers from TK through 12. We're exhausted by these violent behaviors. Kids in packs hunting down other kids to hurt them. This cannot be tolerated. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Bowman. CSEA update. Seeing no one. Board communications. Vice President Kelly.
Thank you. So I've got a couple. A couple weeks ago, some of us were able to go to the Kern County Board of Education dinner. And I know for me, the Kern County High School District has a phenomenal CTE program. I know there were some discussions that we are going to explore some more. What are some options that we might be able to bring up from here or to here? So there was a lot of great conversations, a lot of neat things to look at. So I think it just sparked some more interest in what we can do for Tehachapi. And then our high school baseball team started last week. Went to a game Friday maybe. And if you ever get a chance just to go stand there and watch them play ball, even for an inning or two, they have so much fun. We get so many people out there, and it's just something fun to do. So it was nice to see spring sports out and about. Thank you.
Anyone else? I went to Tompkins last week. I was contacted by Ms. Sarah, the librarian, and she requested from me to read 2 kindergarten classes. So I did. She gave me a couple books, and I read to the 3 kindergarten classes and 1 TK class. And kids are just, they're so fun. They're just so fun. And I also attended the trustee dinner along with Vice President Kelly. And what a program. They gave us a tour before the dinner, and it's just an awesome edifice. I won't even say building. And all the programs they have. And as Vice President Kelly mentioned, hope we can bring some programs. One we already have up here is graphic art designs at THS, and if we can get some more up here, that'd be great. That's all I have. Time for public comments. The district welcomes comments from the public at appropriate times during the meeting. The public may address the board concerning items on the agenda as those items are taken up prior to board discussion and deliberation. The public may also address the board on items not on the agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the board at the time designated. The board requests each speaker must fill out a speaker form at the beginning of the meeting stating the speaker's name, the subject to be addressed, and provide the form to the secretary of the board. Please wait to be recognized by the board president. Comments should be addressed to the board as a whole and not to individual members or district employees or to anyone in the audience. Unless otherwise determined by the board, individual speakers will be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item, and the board will limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. That's Board Bylaw 9323. The board understands that the First Amendment provides strong protection for speech. However, the board expects that all speech and expression will comport with norms of civil behavior on district grounds, in district facilities, during district activities or events, and in the use of district electronic/digital systems and platforms. Civil behavior is polite, courteous, and reasonable behavior, which is respectful to others and includes integrity, honesty, acceptance, timeliness, dependability, observance of laws and rules, and effective communication. And that's from Board Bylaw 1313. We have two goldenrods up here. The first one is Marissa.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Marissa, and I'm here tonight as a parent. Tehachapi is a small town where we pride ourselves on being a community that cares about one another. Families choose to raise their children here because they believe this community will look out for them and keep them safe. But for some families right now, the sense of safety and trust has been taken. The district website states, our district team of staff members is committed to bringing their very best each and every day to serve the students and the families of TUSD. That is a strong statement. It is a promise to the community. So I'm here with other families asking the board whether that promise is being fully reflected in the experiences students and parents are having. As a parent, I never imagined that sending my child to our only middle school would come with fear. Fear about whether my child would be safe, and fear about whether serious concerns would be addressed in the ways that families expect. Let me reiterate a phrase I often hear in our community, the same phrase from students and parents. I just need to survive this school year. I just need to survive. Those are the very words that no child and no parent should ever have to say about school. Yet the phrase is all too common. If you ask families in this community what they think about the middle school, many will tell you that they've considered other options, including homeschooling. Or simply, I'm not putting my child through that awful experience of attending our middle school. But homeschooling is not a realistic option for many families. Many parents work full-time and rely on our public schools to provide a safe and supportive environment for their children. As parents in this community, our expectations are simple. The schools provide a safe environment for students and respond appropriately when safety concerns are raised. Like many parents, my concerns come of very personal experience involving my own child. Over the past several weeks, I have reached out through emails and follow-ups with district leadership because I believe communication and transparency were the way to address these concerns. Despite multiple attempts to raise these concerns, I still remain deeply concerned about my child's safety and whether these issues are being adequately addressed. Parents should not have to struggle to obtain this information. When serious incidents occur, families expect them to be properly documented, carefully reviewed, and addressed so the patterns of harmful behavior do not continue. This is not just about one child. It is about whether the district is living up to the commitment it publicly makes to the community. These questions many families are asking right now are simple. Are students truly safe at school? Are serious concerns being documented and addressed consistently? And what steps are being taken to restore the trust to the students and the families? No parent should have to worry about their child and if they could be the next student seriously harmed. I urge this board to ensure that the commitment stated on the district's website is not just a promise in writing, but some families want to see it reflected in action. Because our children deserve nothing less than to feel safe at school, they deserve to be proud and to attend a middle school here in Tehachapi. Thank you.
Thank you, Marissa. Our next speaker is Deborah, and Deborah is going to be talking about the same topic, but I will ask Superintendent Bell now to give us some more detail. Contact Marissa, and the next speaker is Deborah. And I like those concerns that Marissa brought and hers to be addressed. Okay, Deborah.
Good evening, members of the board, superintendent, and neighbors. My name is Deborah, and I am here as a grandparent whose heart has been broken by watching my grandchild suffer. Not once, but again and again. Since the first day of middle school, he has been bullied and physically assaulted severely. These are not statistics to me. They are late-night phone calls, a child's trembling hand, a family's sleepless night, family continued prayers, and a young life marked by fear where there should have been safety. We and other families trusted this school district to protect our children. Yet every time something horrific happened, investigations did not begin unless the parent fought for something to be done. Imagine telling a parent, "We'll wait for another incident unless you insist." Imagine telling a child, "We can't promise you'll be safe, but you still have to go to school." That is not a protection, that is abandonment. Your own website states your policy is, board recognizes every student's right to a safe and secure campus. Those words are supposed to mean something. They are supposed to be a shield for our children, not just text on your website. How many more children will be hurt while those words remain hollow? I speak tonight not only for my grandchild, but for every parent who lies awake, terrified of a knock on the door or call from a crying child, for every child who hides what happened because they are ashamed or afraid to speak, and for every family who has felt ignored by the very system meant to keep them safe. Your website says the Always Bullying Prevention Program was implemented district-wide, yet we continue to see violence and assault. That raises urgent questions. Is the Always program truly active in this district? If so, why are we still seeing this level of violence? If not, why is it listed as the program followed on your website? Why are investigations delayed or only begun when parents demand them? Why do children have to demand their own protection? Why has the district failed to provide a genuinely safe campus at Tompkins Elementary and JMS?
Deborah, your time's up. If you need to close it up.
Okay. We send our children to this district to be educated, not frightened, injured, or silenced. We entrusted you with their safety. Tonight, I ask you to prove that trust is not misplaced. I ask you to ask with urgency, accountability, and heart. I thank you for listening. Our children deserve more than promises. They deserve protection. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Deborah. I usually don't respond to public comment, but I want to share with the audience what this board and myself have told Superintendent Bell, and there's a dashboard on suspension rate. There's a dashboard on expulsions. As a board, we don't care if we're in red for either of those. Do what you need to do. Principles. Are there any more public comments? Seeing none, let's go to consent agenda. In order to promote efficient meetings, the board may bundle a number of items and act upon them together by a single vote through the use of a consent agenda. Consent items shall be items of a routine nature and items for which board discussion is not anticipated and for which the superintendent recommends approval. When any board member requests the removal of an item from the consent agenda, the item shall be removed and given individual consideration for action as a regular agenda item. Now, on this consent agenda, item number 10, approval of the donation to Tehachapi Unified School District, involves myself. So I'm going to recuse myself from this vote and turn it over to Vice President Kelly.
Thank you, President Kaminsky. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So motion.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Trustee Cooper, seconded by Trustee Napier. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And one recusal. So we have 5 in favor, 0 opposed, and 1 recused. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice President Kelly. My keyboard's very touchy. All right, new business. Number 1 is an information item. Acknowledge receipt of initial proposal from Tehachapi Association of Teachers, CTA, NEAs to the Tehachapi Unified School District for reopener negotiations for the 2026-2027 school year. This notice is being provided pursuant to Government Code Section 3547. Superintendent Bell.
We received the initial offering here on the Sunshine proposal for TAT, and we just wanted to make sure that we had acknowledged that and presented it to the board as well. And then we'll be working on our Sunshine for the subsequent month.
All right, thank you. Number 2, public hearing on Tehachapi Association of Teachers, CTA/NEA's initial proposal to the Tehachapi Unified School District for reopener negotiations for the 2026-2027 school year. This public hearing is pursuant to Government Code Section 3547. Are there any public comments? Seeing none, any discussion? Board? Moving on to number 3, approval of the 2026-2027 transportation plan for Tehachapi Unified School District. I see Ms. Berry here. Mr. Desari.
Thank you, President Kaminsky. We are here to present the 2026-2027 transportation plan.
While board approval is no longer required, we think it's an excellent practice for transparency, and especially given the reliance a lot of our families have on home to school transportation. With me, I have Mrs. Denise Berry, Transportation Supervisor. We are very fortunate to have someone from Tehachapi that understands the logistics and the complicated nature of navigating our landscape. So we're very fortunate to have her. This is her once-a-year board appearance. Sorry. So the reason we're here is because in 2020, as part of the 2024 adopted budget at the state, the enacted budget, Assembly Bill 181, required school districts create a plan that prioritizes transitional kindergarten to sixth graders for transportation, as well as prioritizing the socioeconomically disadvantaged students. TUSD has a long history of providing free transportation for socioeconomically disadvantaged students. This predates this state mandate, and so we're happy to continue that practice. Currently, as Mr. Bell presented, we have a little over 4,000 students, but for transportation in 25-26, we've issued over 1,500 bus passes, and we have a daily ridership on our general ed routes of about 1,000 students a day, which is a lot. And we're happy to continue that practice. This year, we started the year with 11 routes, but we had to consolidate to 10. But for the 26-27 year, we are going to go back to 11 routes, and we're going to see just kind of how that goes. It's just hard to hire qualified bus drivers and get them trained in time, to beat the attrition of either retiring bus drivers or people that decide it's not a career for them. But we continue to press forward, understanding the importance and the reliance our stakeholders have in bus transportation. So I know that one of the things that was important that we discussed last year in March at the regular meeting was the walking distances. Those remain unchanged, 0.75 miles for elementary students, 1 mile for middle school, and 2 miles for high school.
Can we have Nehemiah go back to that slide, just so that it can
So
be
this
seen?
is just the document.
I know, but can
Sorry.
we go back one that shows
Yes.
the audience what the actual distance is, just so they can see it? It should be page 6. Right there. Yep.
Yes. One of the challenges with this requirement is that the TK through 6 requirement. So most commonly, elementary schools will go to 6th grade. The middle school here starts at 6th grade, so the prioritization does kind of create a little bit of a challenge because we don't normally have issues with wait lists or difficulty for parents to get a seat on the bus for the elementary routes, but it's those secondary routes that do get impacted. But Ms. Denise Berry has found a way to make sure that we don't have, some anomalies. Like one of the issues that we'd found when this was first implemented is you'll have two students, right, from the same household, but one got a bus pass and the other one is deep on the wait list, right? So we've had to find ways to make sure to meet the family's needs without coming at the cost of a prioritized student being bumped out of their bus pass that they're eligible for. But we haven't run into any issues since, and we continue to be able to offer as many seats as possible. We implemented the Zonar bus pass system, so we now are not relying on the memory of our bus drivers and how well they know their students and who rode that day. We now have data that helps us make more informed decisions and be able to meet the transportation needs of a lot of our families as quickly as possible. So the way the prioritization works is, and this is a required element of the plan, is that all of the bus passes are applied for before the school year, and so that's when the prioritization happens. And then once after the school year starts, if there's an application that we receive for someone that's identified as a priority, right, whether they're TK to 6th grade or socioeconomically disadvantaged, then they become prioritized on the wait list. And then we make sure to get them a seat as soon as one is available. The department right? It's a priority to us to provide safe and reliable transportation. But when I tell you that we issue 1,500 bus passes, but we have 1,000 riders, right? That creates this phantom rider kind of situation. And so at the beginning, the first month of every school year is extremely stressful for some families that need a ride on the bus pass, but they just didn't see the survey that went out where they can apply for a bus pass. They didn't get the reminder. They just moved to Tehachapi, right? And so when it comes to transportation, it's a very stressful month at the beginning because we'll find that there's a lot of bus passes that were applied for. Maybe they rode the first week, but then they're no longer there. And now Ms. Denise Berry has the fun assignment of figuring out how to give out more bus passes than we have seats while not overcrowding the bus and making sure that we do not go over the limit of amount of students we can safely transport. So through a lot of discussion, a lot of meeting with parent groups, we met with the Citizens Task Force in order to discuss how we can address this, right? Last year when we talked about the transportation plan, some of the feedback we got is we want to make sure that those students that need it have access to it. And there's through the conversation internally with our cabinet, as well as with Citizens Task Force and with Ms. Denise Berry, we've identified that we need to establish a nominal fee. So before in 2019, the last time that we charged for home to school transportation, the amount was $137 per semester. And so we rounded that up to $140 per semester, and that comes out to $1.55 per day. And we think that kind of meets the definition of nominal fee. We think that this amount is enough to make sure that anyone that applies for a bus pass that is not already prioritized by either the so the TK to 6, even though they're prioritized, they're still eligible to we are still eligible to charge. The socioeconomically disadvantaged, they do not pay at all. But the fee would help us to kind of establish just a minimum hurdle so that we make sure that we can continue to provide safe and reliable transportation and make that first month of school less stressful on our families that really do need that transportation. A lot of the feedback we got was, we appreciate, that you want to alleviate the burden on socioeconomically disadvantaged households, but a lot of the transportation was needed because there were families that their work schedules were not traditional, did not align with the school day, and so they wanted to be able to, do some. I have never seen people beg to be charged before, so happy to oblige. But more so to demonstrate that it's not about the finance, right? We just went back to charging what it was. We added, 2%, but more so just to make it an easy to remember number and make sure that that nominal fee that we were asked to implement was put into place. We remain 100% free for students from socioeconomically disadvantaged households, and that is pretty much the only thing that changed from our plan from the previous year, and we seek your approval to implement the plan for 26-27.
Thank you, Mr. Intrazari. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Vice President Kelly?
Okay. I had
Trustee Christensen, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm sorry. You had mentioned there's a couple of things you ran across. First of all, I appreciate you guys being here. Okay, because this is something that's important. The kids have got to get to school and safely. Mrs. Berry, would it be possible, and this is going to probably go to you, President, but possibly have her come more than just once a year? I'm just thinking like at the beginning of the year, she can come in and go, okay, look, here's where we are. And this is kind of what we're looking at. We ran out of bus passes before we ever started. And, I'm just spitball. I'm just thinking, if we could have her more than once. The second thing is you were talking about for new families coming in. And I know that a lot of times in small towns like what we are, there is a place where they go to get all their information, their electrical and their gas and where they have all that information. Is it possible for not just for the buses, but I mean for the school district to have maybe a 2-page pamphlet given to that group of people that pass out that information. It's like, okay, here's your information on your gas bill, here's on your this, here's on your trash, and here's the thing about the school, and and you can put that information on there so you can tell them that by whatever date that you choose, this is, if you want to, here's how you can get the bus passes for your kids, or who you can contact to talk about it. And that's a suggestion. It's just an idea. How much did you say was it per semester? The bus pass?
Yes, $140.
$140 a semester.
Yes, so
Okay.
$280 for the year.
And is there a way, if somebody in the community, like you were saying, because you got some kids that, some families that are economically challenged, is there a way that if somebody in the community wanted to, or people or groups or whatever, to donate money for bus passes to help with those, I'm not saying that's going to take care of that, because we are giving it to them anyways. But is there a way that it could be set up where donations could be given to the bus barn or to the school district or whoever, that it would help kind of cover that gap? It's an idea if we have something like that set up or not.
Currently, we do not have a way set up to solicit donations. We usually have like parent-teacher groups, boosters, alumni associations that do that fundraising. Since this is a new implementation, certainly open to seeing what we can do to make sure that anyone that wanted to provide to anyone in need. Our hope was that the being able to offer as part of our policy to socioeconomically disadvantaged, but we know, right, that like just because you're above that threshold doesn't necessarily mean that you're flush with cash, right? And so certainly open to seeing what we can do to raise awareness for anyone that wants to help parents get a bus pass. Absolutely, we can do that.
Thank you.
Vice President Kelly.
So I think my thinking is probably right along the same as Trustee Christensen, but I want to start with, yes, I do appreciate you being here. I appreciate all the information, and we're just going back to a procedure we had before. Has there been any change with the state reimbursement at all?
No, all indication is that the 60% reimbursement for operating expenses, right? We don't get 60% if we buy a bus, right? But for the operating expenses, continues to be in place. Obviously, the fiscal outlook of the state will determine if that stays, right? The governor might be changing. And so whether that stays in place, we could not say, but every indication is that this continues for 26-27.
Right, thank you. And then two more things. And I know you guys have probably gone through a ton of scenarios, but have we considered, and I don't need an answer, but have we considered a payment plan and then possibly a punch card per ride or X number of rides per punch card at or above, the daily rate?
We have discussed that in the past. I think the issue is that home to school transportation, right, is supposed to be kind of reliable most days. Certainly understand that some people need it for different reasons, right? It might, if you're in high school and you have athletics, that's only part of the season. So the rest of the year you might need a ride. But we don't want to become like a transit system, right? Because we wouldn't have a reliable count. Ms. Berry can pretty much within like probably 5 kids tell you how many kids are going to ride with this system and using the Zonar. But if we implement like a punch card system or like pay as you go, it really makes it hard to be able to guarantee that those seats are available. But we certainly have considered it, and we can continue to talk about it or find an alternative for those that might need it but don't really want to buy a pass for a whole semester or for a whole year. Certainly understand the intent.
I appreciate you look at it. Thank you.
Any other trustee with a question or comment? Do I have a motion that the board approve the 2026-2027 transportation plan for Tehachapi Unified School District as presented?
Kelly, make the motion.
Second.
It was motioned by Vice President Kelly. Excuse me. Seconded by Trustee Cooper that the board approve the 2026-2027 transportation plan for Tehachapi Unified School District. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, Ms. Berry and Mr. Intezari. Item 4, first read board policies. There was quite a number. Any questions or comments from the board? Moving on to number 5, approval of board policies. These were discussed or brought up for a first read in the January regular meeting. Any questions or comments from the board? Vice President Kelly.
I know this has been talked about before, but I just want to say thank you that we actually do have the graphic that says what's been deleted, what's been revised, and or what's brand new. That's all it was. It does help as we read through the policies to look for those what the graph shows us is going to we should look for. So I appreciate that.
I'll second that.
I'll third.
Okay. Oops. No, it's not on here. But is there a motion to approve the board policies as presented in item 5?
Kelly, make the motion.
I'll second.
Is motion by Vice President Kelly, seconded by Clerk Wood, that the board approve the board policy changes as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Oops. All right. Item 6, California School Boards Association Official 2026 Delegate Assembly Amended Ballot Region 12B, Kern County. Now, we voted on this last month and approved 2 of the candidates, 2 of the 3. And then the superintendent was notified that inadvertently a name had got left off. So now the candidates are Robert Campbell, Pamela Jacobson, Chris Cruz Boone, and Maria Ramos. Any questions or comments about the candidates? Okay, I'm going to make the motion that we approve the 2 candidates that we did last month, which was, and I got to go back. It's not telling me who the
We had Chris Cruz Boone.
I know one was Chris Cruz Boone.
And then the
Robert.
And then it was
Or
the
Pamela.
incumbent, was it?
It doesn't show on my
The incumbent, which
agenda.
was Pamela Jacobson.
Pamela Jacobson.
Was that right?
Okay, Pamela's the incumbent.
Oh, yeah, there it is on the second page. Yeah, Pamela's paperwork, it has yes for are you the incumbent delegate. So I'm going to make a motion to, for our board to nominate Pamela Jacobson and Chris Cruz Boone.
Kelly, I second that motion.
So it was motion by President Kaminsky to approve for the CSBA 2026 Delegate Assembly, Pamela Jacobson and Chris Cruz Boone. It's a roll call vote.
President Kaminsky,
Aye.
Vice President Kelly,
Aye.
Clerk Wood,
Aye.
Trustee Cooper, Trustee Christensen,
All right.
Trustee Napier,
Aye.
Trustee Sweeney absent.
Motion carries 6-0. Item 7, presentation adoption of resolution number 01 MER 26 positive certification of the second interim report for 2025-2026. Mr. Intezari.
Thank you, President Kaminsky. Thank you very much. For those that did not catch that, my name is Hojat Intezari, and I'm honored to serve as your Chief Business Officer. There we go. Got it. All right. So we are going to present the second interim, which is the second formal revision to our budget. I was last here in December presenting the first interim, and here to report that we continue to recommend a positive certification for this year's budget, which shows that we can meet our financial obligations for this year and the next 2 years and meet the state's minimum requirements for reserves for economic uncertainties. Proud to report that we continue to be able to meet the board's minimum reserve requirements of 9% as opposed to the state's 3%. And we have really good news, at least financial good news. Obviously, the way we get there is really tough because we're mostly in the people business, so salary and benefits is most of what our money goes to. But from a strictly fiscal perspective, we are out of the concern about insolvency, but we are still currently relying on the state's one-time funding that they continue to give us. And as we discussed in the past, right, we need ongoing money. We spend our money on programs. Programs are supposed to continue. So the one-time money does make things complicated, but it's provided relief for the district in order to be able to meet our obligations and make sure that our new superintendent has time to make decisions that are in the best interest of the community and the students, and not simply just making business decisions. So today we're going to talk about just our fiscal outlook briefly, go over our budget, talk about revenues, expenditures, and then go over the multi-year projection, and then just talk about the budget cycle and the timeline of events specific to our budget as it relates to the state's enacting of the following year's budget. So currently, we're looking at a cost of living adjustment for this year of 2.3%. This was down from when the budget was adopted by the state of 2.43%. And then the 26-27 number, so next year, we're expecting and using the assumption of 2.41%. And then in 27-28, 3.06%. But as you can see previously, when the governor enacted the budget, right? So as of July, so 8-ish months ago, that number was significantly higher for next year. It was 3.52%. And this year's 2.3%, it was actually 3.29% when they had enacted that budget. So while the cost of living adjustment numbers are good, I would not necessarily call them reliable, but they do provide us some assumptions to work with when it comes to adjusting our revenue. So the legislature essentially is for the proposed budget for January comes from the governor, and then he revises it in May. And so currently there's a big difference. There's a chasm between the legislative analyst's office, right? The people that advise the legislature who approve the governor's budget and the governor. There's just a lot of borrowing internally from their own budget. The education portion of the budget continues to be shorted, and just essentially getting an IOU in one-time money in order to ensure that they address their deficit spending. And so that continues to cause problems for us, but that is a bit outside of our control. In regard to LCFF revenues, right, the majority of the money that we get, the district is experiencing a small increase in attendance, right, as was presented by Mr. Bell, but we continue to experience declining enrollment. And so that is going to be really tough to outpace, especially with decreasing COLAs, right, attendance kind of being only within a 1% margin and continuing to lose about 2% of students per year. The district is expecting to receive a cash deferral. That is another mechanism of the state. So right before, because we have the same fiscal year, right, June 30. So they're not going to pay us in this year, they'll pay us next year, but that timeline is a month difference, right? So we estimate that that's going to cost TUSD about $3 million in basically an IOU that we will not get till the following month. We're fortunate to be able to float that without needing to borrow, without needing to apply to the state and beg for them to spare us. But 1 month is not a big deal. But the last time we went through this, about 4 years ago, it was 4 months. And so that does put us in a predicament because without cash, it's very difficult to operate. Any questions about fiscal outlook so far? Okay, so we can dive right into our funds. So as always, the general fund is what maintains all of the lion's share of the revenues and expenses. We do have other funds. We have an adult school, our cafeteria fund, capital facilities where we collect developer fees, and then some special reserve accounts. But primarily, our focus is on the general fund because that's where all the money is. That's where all the excitement is. So we're going to talk about revenues and expenses for this year. So in total revenue, right, unrestricted and restricted, we're looking at about $65.9 million in revenue coming in and about $69.14 million going out, resulting in a total deficit of $3.25 million. This is a good news because we were initially, when we adopted the budget, looking at a $5.6 million deficit. So in terms of taking care of business, we've made sure that we no longer are looking at such large deficits, especially in the out years. This year it is what it is, but we've done our best to mitigate the loss. And this number is the 3.246 is only $100,000 more than the information I shared at the first interim budget revision. So this shows that we're on pace for what we estimated previously. So, costs do go up. We do have certain unanticipated expenses, but certainly maintaining in that range shows that it's pretty consistent, and we hope to maintain that. I know that everybody likes pie charts, so here is just a comparison of our unrestricted revenues and our restricted revenues, and so just where you see where it comes from. So as you can see, 94% of the unrestricted money, so about $50 million of that $52.89 million is from LCFF. That's why attendance and enrollment is such a critical number, because those are the primary drivers of that revenue source. In restricted, we have about $13 million, resulting in total revenue in the 25-26 fiscal year of $65.9 million. In regard to expenditures, as you can see, salaries and benefits make up the lion's share. You'll see this 15.6% contribution, right? So that's the money that that comes from the unrestricted side to the restricted side of the house in order to cover costs mostly related to special ed, right? The special education, state and federal combined, is nowhere near the amount we need, and we contribute almost $7 million to the other side of the house. So on the restricted side, $22 million being spent, and as you can see, almost 72% going straight to salaries and benefits. And so, because that's, again, we are in the people business. And so our total, $69 million, with 77% going to salary and benefit. All right, so now we're going to talk about ending fund balance, right? So we talked about how much money is projected to come in this year, how much money is projected to go out this year. Now this is talking about projecting how much money we're going to have. We started the year with a fund balance. We're going to end the year with a fund balance, right? So, in unrestricted deficit spending, right? So we said that there was about 3.1, 3.2 in total deficit spend. 2.95 of that is coming on the unrestricted side, and then 300,000. We haven't had a deficit number in thousands in a while, so happy to see that there isn't an M next to that. A big part of that has to do with the receiving one-time money. So the district received about $1.5 million in 25-26 that we did not touch. And that is the money that we've used that you'll see in our multi-year projection to carry some of those costs from the scenarios that we need some more time to look and evaluate at. And so now this helps us kind of carry that. But that money was received in this year. But if you took out the block grant money, you'd be deficit spending about 1.8 million. But because we received that money this year, we're at 300,000. All right, so in regards to our unrestricted ending fund balance, right? So when we talk about reserves, this is the part. We don't care about what the restricted fund balance is, right? Because that money's already been earmarked for whatever it came for. But on the unrestricted side, somewhat discretionary, but essentially our operating money, the district is estimated to have an ending fund balance this year of 14.4 million and about 7 million on the restricted side of the house. So that 3.246 million deficit spend for this year, that number is 3,245,531, and that provides us with a projected total ending fund balance, total everything, 21,349,705, of which that 14,390,653 is on the unrestricted side. This is really good news. So now the multi-year projection, this is the critical part of what drives whether we get a positive certification or not, is if we can show that we can meet our financial obligations the current year and the next 2 years. And the good news is we can. So in 25-26, you'll see the total revenue is about 65.9 with 69 million going out for this year. There's that $3.245 million deficit number again. Next year, you'll see about 65.5 million coming in and 65.5 million going out. And we actually result in a small surplus. And so when we were going over this number, I see the excitement in everyone's face. Are we out of it? Are we done? We are not. So this is because we are still relying on one-time funds. On the unrestricted side, we still have deficit spending of $600,000, but that doesn't include, we haven't completed negotiations. I'm sure Mrs. Paxton has lots of expensive curriculum to purchase. We have a lot of contingent liabilities, right? There's a lot of things still up in the air. And so when 1% can be anywhere from 400 to 500,000 when it comes to our salaries and benefits, you know, it's not going to take long for that 77,000 to disappear. So while we are now very clearly solvent and doing much better, we're still reliant on one-time funds, and it's important to keep that in mind because we haven't closed the 26-27 year, and 27-28 still a long ways away. But as you can see, once that one-time money dries up, we're already back to deficit spending over $500,000. So that, you know, essentially the way I explained it to our superintendent is we're just kind of where we were a couple years ago. We know the money's drying up, and we know we have to do something about it. Any questions about the multi-year projection for revenues and expenses? No? Okay, so we talked about how much we're projected to bring in, how much we're projected to spend. Now let's talk about how much we're projected to have left over, fund balance, right? So this is specifically combined, right? Not just the unrestricted portion. So we're going to we started this year with 24.5 million with the 3.25 deficit spend. We expect to have 21 million. The 9% reserve comes out to 6.2 million of that, right? But there's also the restricted portion, right? So not all of that is just available. A lot of it is either already restricted or it's committed for various purposes. In 26-27, we continue to demonstrate that we can meet the 9% reserve with our projected small surplus, but again, as I mentioned, we are not done with a lot of our most expensive things for this year that impact future years. The governor's budget hasn't been enacted. We don't know what we're going to get. As I demonstrated with the COLAs, those numbers move. And when 1% means $500,000, even if it goes down 0.5%, that means that we're losing $250,000 a year, not just one time. And so that makes a really big impact on our ability to make decisions on staffing. But the good news is that we are demonstrating really strong financials and an ability to continue to meet our obligations and provide some more time and relief to make the decisions that are best for our operational costs. So for timelines, right? So today we have a board resolution recommending the recommendation of a positive certification. In May, the governor will come out with what's called the May revise, where he revises his January budget proposal. It's usually the January one. It's hopes and dreams. May becomes a little more realistic. And then that's what we use when we adopt our budget in June for the following year. This is in alignment with the LCAP adoption. Sometimes, frequently in recent history, the state budget gets enacted before the timeline requirements for us to adopt our budget. So if there are any significant differences, we'll see them, 6 months later. But you will be hearing back from me in June when I'll let you know what the year looks like it's going to finish, and then adopt the budget for the following year, and then the multi-year projection for the following year and the next 2 years. So we're going to be looking out till 2029, which is kind of weird to say out loud. But yeah, any questions?
Vice President Kelly.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that. As long as you've been doing CBO stuff, has the incoming governor had any major implications to the budget change?
I'm honored to say I've only been a CBO for Tehachapi Unified School District, and
he only knows one governor.
I mean, I know that there in our accounting and school business world, Governor Brown was known for being, a good balance of supporting education, but also kind of fiscal responsibility. But other than that, that's really all I can speak to. I know that when the county provides us updates and we hear from state agencies that kind of translate the budget to plain English for us at the state level, these are new maneuvers. Borrowing from one part of the budget to fund the other part of the budget and IOUs, it's like borrowing money from yourself. It's brand new. I think there's questioning about the legality of it, but it continues to happen. So it has been hard to understand what that impact means for us. And, sometimes you got to live day by day, and sometimes it's day by night. And I think for our budget perspective, it's a day by night situation.
Okay, so what I interpreted you say, there's a chance, but maybe not, because the legislator has to approve the budget, right? But it could happen. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? I'm really nervous about what's going on with the gas prices. It's going to affect, obviously, transportation, but in the manufacturing and delivery of goods and services, for everybody, it's going to go up. And we will, as a board and the superintendent and you, will be under tremendous pressure because of what the effect, and this is where my biggest worry is, for our employees. And they're going to need help. And I don't know if we can give it to them, even though I for one, want to. But and that's just the big unknown.
You are certainly justified in your concerns, and we share them. But the problem is that it's outside of our control. And if we're in a situation where if it happens to us, it's happening to everybody statewide, nationwide. So it would be kind of a collective problem to address. But we're certainly making every effort to do the best by our employees.
Well, you are right. We have no control over that, and we just have to do the best we can. It just, we'll see what happens. Thank you, Mr. Intezari. No other questions or comments? Okay. So we're going to take a vote on this resolution number 01-MAR26, a positive certification of the second interim report by the Board of Trustees, whereas the Board of Trustees has adopted a budget for the operation of the Tehachapi Unified School District for fiscal year 2025-2026, and whereas the Board of Trustees has approved certain appropriations and transfers to the 2025-2026 budget, and whereas the Board of Trustees finds that the district will be able to meet its financial obligations for the 2025-2026 fiscal year and 2 subsequent fiscal years. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Assembly Bill 1366, Chapter 741, Statutes of 1985, the Board of Trustees of the Tehachapi Unified School District certifies that the district will be able to meet its financial obligations for the remainder of the 2025-26 fiscal year and 2 subsequent fiscal years. Is there a motion to approve the adoption?
Kelly, you make the motion.
Second.
It was motioned by Vice President Kelly, seconded by Trustee Christensen. The board approved the adoption of resolution number 01-MAR26, positive certification of the second interim report for 2025-2026 as presented. And this is a roll call vote. Ms. Barnes.
President Kaminsky.
Aye.
Vice President Kelly.
Aye.
Clerk Wood.
Aye.
Trustee Cooper.
Aye.
Trustee Christensen.
Aye.
Trustee Napier.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries 6-0. Next item, number 8, is approval of the agreement between Kern Community College District and Tehachapi Unified School District, grant project ID number 32638, Innovative Pathways, Cultivating Skills for Tomorrow's Careers. Let's see. There we go. The primary objective of the grant funds is to modernize and expand our agricultural science, design, and digital photography pathways. By participating in this regional alignment, the district secures state-level funding to enhance our career technical education, facilities, and curriculum, ensuring they meet current industry standards for modern agricultural production, design, and photography. Any questions or comments from the board? Do I have a motion for the board to approve the agreement between Kern Community College District and Tehachapi Unified School District, grant project ID number 32638, Innovative Pathways, Cultivating Skills for Tomorrow's Careers as presented?
Kelly, make the motion.
Second.
It was motioned by Vice President Kelly, seconded by Trustee Cooper. The board approved the agreement between Kern Community College District and Tehachapi Unified School District, grant project ID number 32638, Innovative Pathways, Cultivating Skills for Tomorrow's Careers. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Number 9, approval of the agreement between Christy White CPA and Tehachapi Unified School District, digital signature engagement letter. District's requesting approval to engage Christy White Incorporated to perform specialized audit procedures to certify the electronic signature pathways within our student information system. This certification is a necessary step to ensure our digital records meet the specific intent to sign and security standards required by the State Controller's Office and the California Department of Education. By obtaining this formal verification, the district ensures that our move toward efficient paperless operations remains legally defensible and mitigates the risk of audit findings during annual attendance reviews. Any questions or comments from the board? It was explained to me that I wish this was around when I was teaching and have to sign over the course of a year hundreds of attendance forms. So it's been recommended the board approve the agreement between Christy White, CPA, and Tehachapi Unified School District digital signature engagement letter as presented. Do I have a motion?
Kelly, make the motion.
I'll second.
There was motion by Vice President Kelly, seconded by Clerk Wood. The board approved the agreement between Christy White, CPA, and the Tehachapi Unified School District digital signature engagement letter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Item 10, approval of the agreement between Leader Services and Tehachapi Unified School District. The district is requesting approval to transition its local educational agency billing option program, LEA POB, support and training to Leader Services starting July 1st, 2025. This program allows TUSD to bill Medi-Cal for health-related services provided to eligible students such as nursing and specialized treatments in accordance with the state fee schedule. Any questions or comments from the board? It's been recommended the board approve the agreement between Leader Services and Tehachapi Unified School District as presented. Do I have a motion?
Kelly, make the motion.
Second.
It was motioned by Vice President Kelly, seconded by Trustee Christensen. The board approved the agreement between Leader Services and Tehachapi Unified School District as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Item 11, approval of declaring certain district property as surplus obsolete in the Personnel Department. Any questions or comments from the board? Is there a motion for the board to approve declaring certain district property as surplus obsolete personnel as presented?
Kelly, make the motion.
I'll second.
It was motion by Vice President Kelly, second by Trustee Cooper, that the board approve declaring certain district property as surplus obsolete in the Personnel Department. Roll call vote, Ms. Barnes?
President Kaminsky.
Aye.
Vice President Kelly.
Aye.
Clerk Wood. Aye. Trustee Cooper.
Aye.
Trustee Christensen.
Aye.
Trustee Napier.
Aye.
Trustee Sweeney absent.
Motion carries 6-0. Item 12, approval of coursework graphic design work experience. This is, we've already had a first read on this. So any questions or comments from the board? It's been recommended the board approve the attached coursework as presented. Do I have a motion?
Kelly, make the motion.
Second.
It was motioned by Vice President Kelly, seconded by Trustee Christensen. The board approved the coursework graphic design work experience. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Item 13, approval of coursework digital photography work experience. Again, this is a second read. Is there any questions or comments from the board? Is there a motion to approve for the board to approve the coursework digital photography work experience as presented?
Kelly, make the motion.
Second.
It was motioned by Vice President Kelly, seconded by Trustee Cooper. The board approved the coursework digital photography work experience as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Item 14, approval of coursework workshop manufacturing lab assistant work experience. Again, a second read. It's been recommended the board approve the attached coursework as presented. Is there a motion for the board to approve the coursework woodshop manufacturing lab assistant work experience?
I so move.
Kelly, a second.
It was motioned by Trustee Christensen, seconded by Vice President Kelly. The board approved the coursework woodshop manufacturing lab assistant work experience. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. And that brings us to future items. Is there any board trustee that wishes to bring something either for an agenda item or for response from the district office personnel? Seeing none. Next item is public comments for closed session. We have 2 items. from the revised agenda. If I get my Item 1, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1, one case, OAH case number 2025100399. And number 2, a conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1, one case, OAH case number 202601099. Are there any public comments referring to these two agenda items? Seeing none, we are adjourning to go to closed session at 6:25. 7:33. We are returning to open session at 7:28. And we are reporting out on the two items in closed session. First item, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D1, one case, OAH case number 20251000399. The board approved a settlement agreement with the student to resolve issues related to students' educational program. The agreement provides for an assessment by the district, compensatory services, and associated legal fees. It's a roll call vote. Yeah, I'm doing that after because this was before. Go ahead.
President Kaminsky,
Aye.
Vice President Kelly,
Aye.
Clerk Wood,
Aye.
Trustee Cooper,
Aye.
Trustee Christensen,
All right.
Trustee Napier,
Aye.
Trustee Sweeney absent.
Motion carries 6-0. At 6:43, Trustee Sweeney finished her race up the hill. So yeah, she came in as this one had just started.
That's why I'm saying.
So this item X2, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D1, one case, OAH case number 202601099. The board approved a settlement agreement with student to resolve issues related to students' educational program. The agreement provides for an assessment by the district, compensatory services, and associated legal fees. Roll call vote. Ms. Barnes.
President Kaminsky,
Aye.
Vice President Kelly,
Aye.
Clerk Wood,
Aye.
Trustee Cooper,
Aye.
Trustee Christensen,
All right.
Trustee Napier,
Aye.
Trustee Sweeney.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries 7-0. And with that, we are at item 13, adjournment. We are adjourned at 7:36. 7:31, I stand corrected.
I guess it is a 6.
Yeah.
Time change.